Hello, I'm Kona Gallagher.
And I'm Ethan Flick.
We're the husband and wife team behind the True Crime podcast, And Then They Were Gone.
We're a weekly show that covers unsolved missing persons cases. These are cases that you, the listener, can have an impact on.
Some of the people you may have heard of, like Kristen Smart or Braceless Pisa. But we also bring you missing people of color and other cases that haven't gotten the mainstream attention that they deserve. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or your favorite podcast app.
Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
Welcome back to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuckity fuck. And I'm your host, Alana.
I'm Kelsey.
And we are here for a much awaited part 2 today.
Yeah.
As texted to me by my brother, like, you can't leave us on a cliffhanger, he said.
Oh, yeah. It was a cliffhanger.
It was. You said it was a real bad cliffhanger, you know, that we hadn't done one quite like this before. And I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
For sure. Right?
I will. Yeah, I can give a recap because this has been like, a week since we recorded.
I don't know. It's been a week for the listeners.
Yeah, actually. And then I think we recorded our bonus episode. Surprise, that's coming
Yeah.
out in between.
What are we even doing right now?
We're well into spooky season. You will see after this one comes out. Just thinking putting it out that next week, which is the Halloween week. We have a special guest episode coming out. So yeah, watch out for that. And sorry about the part 2. Oh my god.
No, it's exciting. I'm excited.
Yes, and it worked out well because I feel like we're pumping the content out. Like we still got this one coming out. This is going to be, I'm sure, full length episode, and then a bonus one, and then we're going to be doing our next regular episode. But then also in the background, we've been watching horror movies to gear up for a big Patreon horror discussion fest.
Yeah.
And there's a shit ton out right now. Like, I would just like to say,
It's a lot. There always is.
yes. Oh, there's one that I haven't watched yet that if you do get to come over, it stars Sebastian Stan. It's called Fresh.
Oh, yeah. It was. I haven't watched it yet. It's on, Disney or Prime? It's on my list.
I don't know. Pat was like, I found it. And I was like, good enough. But we haven't watched it yet. And it was recommended to me by the Keep It Weird podcast girls. They've been doing like a little video segment of every day of the month. I think they've been talking about a different horror movie, but I haven't been on social media a lot. So I only remember this one. But they said it was creepy, and he was creepy in it. So I was like, ooh, good enough.
Yeah, I had heard it was creepy, yeah.
Yeah, I like that the creepy, okay, they're supposed to be creepy, but they're still like kind of sexy, kind of like the vampire lore, right? It's kind of that whole like, you even feel weird because, it's not supposed to be, it makes you feel weird, I guess. Whatever, he's hot.
Alana has a thing for vampires.
Okay, but no, but you're making me think of freaking Bill Skarsgård, and they were talking, I've heard talking about how he's doing the Nosferatu coming out. And he said that he kind of freaked himself out doing that one. And,
oh, really?
They kind of talked about how it's that whole, like, ooh, vampire, like, even the creepy vampires are supposed to be creepy, but also kind of hot. Because Skarsgård's, got a Skarsgård.
Yeah.
I mean, even Pennywise is a little, No.
Is
You can
it
see the
when
bill
he
poking through. What?
I was gonna say, is it when he transformed into the super tall old woman with the saggy boobs and chased the children through the house? Is that what
Oh
did
no,
it
but
for
I
you?
forget that's him too. Oh, the super tall. Super tall. I can't talk. Not a horror movie, but that reminds me of the one show Them that Pat and I just been watching some episodes of. It doesn't really have to do with Us, the movie, which you'd think, because you see like a black family, and I'm like, is this the same thing? But it's like, I don't know, maybe some of the
Oh.
same people. And it's like a black family in the 50s that moved from like a southern or like a southern state like North Carolina or something to like California, and of course got like the creepy Stepford wives, white
Yeah.
ladies, trying to scare them out of there. But then also like there was like this supernatural character that's pretty tall and got that tall slender man creepy thing going
Oh.
on.
Does he have a top hat?
Nah, sometimes I think it might be a
Okay.
girl. I don't know.
Interesting.
I know very little, but also Pat watched whole season 2 and then he went, "Oh, that was season 2. I need to watch season 1 now." And I was like, "Well, it must have made some sense."
If you didn't realize you hadn't watched a whole season.
I think it deals with the adult daughter of the family, so I could see how it just kind of like I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." But like
Yeah.
it's been interesting. I don't know.
Cool.
Maybe check it out. Do you have anything you want to recommend? I feel like I'm like, "Oh, I listened to this and I watched that."
What have I watched?
If you've had any time to, poor thing.
Yeah, I haven't had the like mental brain power to try and follow a movie with like new characters or anything. So
True.
yeah, I've
Sometimes a
been
movie
just
is a
been
lot.
I've been watching a few like reactions and stuff for
Oh,
like
right.
older horror movies and things as they've been coming out, because it's like, oh, I've seen the movie, I can sort of mind-numbingly watch this and not
Yes,
miss
that's what
too
I like
much.
about podcasts where they break down the movie and stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
So I've been doing that, and then I have a couple TV shows I was watching a few episodes of, but yeah.
Oh, shit. It's glitching out again, fuckers. Yeah. Yeah, you guys have to tell us what you're watching and all that, and then we'll give you guys, maybe I'll put a list up on our socials when we talk about the horror movies we've been watching. Some of them I watched were not so great.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's always interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I put everything on my Letterboxd, otherwise I couldn't keep track of anything that I watched. A couple of
That is very true.
The other day I was like, I don't know, at least halfway through watching a movie, and then because normally right when I start it, I'll like put it in my Letterboxd or I won't remember, and a lot of times I'll catch myself and be like,
Okay.
oh, I already saw this movie.
So
And
you go to like log it that you've watched it in
yeah,
Letterboxd, which I
and I'm
assume
like,
is
I've
okay. I
already
have
seen
like
it.
Goodreads where you're like, I read that book, 5 stars, whatever, and then it
Yeah.
shows as like read.
So
Okay.
I catch
Yeah.
myself a lot of times being like, oh, you watched this movie, and it's like, well, obviously it wasn't great because you don't even remember it.
No, I think that's the
But
nature of
sometimes,
just movie watching, though. I don't know.
yeah, and then sometimes I don't go to log it until the movie's almost over, and then I go, damn it, like this is one I've already seen, and I didn't catch it at all, and it's like, what?
Never will I not think about how I was like, I bought Gone Girl, the book, and then went, I already own this.
Yeah.
But it's so true because like we were looking through stuff to watch on Prime, and Pat was all, you pick or whatever, because he's got his lists going and all the stuff ready
Yeah.
to watch that we could pick from. But it's like, okay, and I was flipping through, or oh no, I guess he was flipping through because then he had the remote and I said, oh, what is that? And it's like Jackpot or something. And then he already was on something else and playing it. And I looked it up. I go, oh, Jackpot. That's the one where they had to run away because she won the lottery and it's up for grabs that you can kill the lottery winner is the premise, right? And it's with
Oh.
Aquafina. I just couldn't, and I said, oh, that's what that one is. And then Pat goes, yeah, Jackpot. That's about that. And we watched that. And I go, oh, okay. Like I just
Yeah.
I just saw it and went like, what is that about? And then when he said it, I go, oh, okay. I have a vague recollection of watching that now. And
Right?
but
Yeah.
yeah, there's just
It
sometimes so many of the same ones too. Yeah.
right? Yeah. It's crazy to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
I
Add in podcast episodes. And then, yeah, someone said the other day, you guys don't believe that we don't remember what episodes we've done. And I'm like, oh no, we're podcasters. We get it.
yeah. I go back and I'm like, have we done this? Have I already done this? Like, what's happening?
Right. Exactly what happened to me with this one because it sounded so familiar, but I had just heard about it, I guess.
Yeah. And I hadn't heard of it. I haven't known
Ooh.
anything. So I've been enjoying it.
Oh, damn. Well, where we left off, it was basically, yeah, we had to get for a recap, the early life of Danny Rolling, I think I went with. Still didn't look that one up. But his life. And then he was in Shreveport. There was a triple murder of the Grissom family. And
Okay.
then we just like went on to our next stop of Gainesville, Florida in August of 1990, where there was an attack on 2 university students in their home. And that was where we left it.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like page 4 or something. Oh my god. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, again, probably trigger warning for part 2 because the first part had lots of child abuse in his early years and stuff, and then this one's
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
gonna kind of have, I think, the result of all that lovely treatment he has as a child where he's letting out his anger and there's mutilation of bodies and stuff like that too.
Jeez.
So it's definitely a rough one. Just always listen with caution, as with true crime, I guess. But
Yeah.
oh, and sexual assault and all that because he loves to do that and pose their bodies and stuff like that.
Ooh.
And then also as a reminder, this was the inspiration for the Scream movies. Fun.
Yeah. Which I can't believe it. Like, I think, yeah, I mentioned it. I think it's fascinating
Yeah.
that there's, like, within the Scream movies, there's the Stab movies that are based
I
off the Scream
know.
movies, and Scream is based off of this. So it just, like, keeps going.
Oh, I know. And oh yeah, the parodies are so good. And then you could argue that the Scary Movie parodies,
Mm-hmm.
come off the back of these kind of movies taking themselves not too seriously and doing kind of the whole fourth wall breaking.
I love the Scary movies. They're hilarious.
I should give those a rewatch, actually. Yeah.
I watched them for the first time at the beginning of COVID because I just wanted something
Oh my
just like
gosh.
mind numbing, and it was amazing.
Oh, girl, I saw one of those in theaters. That's so funny. Such a different experience. Oh my god.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, this is hilarious.
Yes, what's her name? Oh my god, Anna Faris. She's funny.
Yeah.
They have the guy from Schitt's Creek too. He's got the weird little hand. Gross.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
good.
gosh. Okay,
All
and now
right.
we're just avoiding the things.
Yeah, let's talk about
Sorry.
murder and mutilation. Yay.
Yeah, there's some bad stuff, but there will be some heroes in this story, I think.
Okay,
Um,
I like that.
okay, yes, we'll give you some hope.
Yeah.
So, as we pick back up with the brutal deaths of the two university students in Gainesville, it is August of 1990. It's probably hot as fuck,
Ooh, yeah.
which it just got colder here today, so that's starting to sound nice. But
Right? Bring back summer.
uh, okay, so the names of the students, the slain students, were Christina Christy Powell and Sonia Larson. They were both new students fresh out of high school, and they were both, unfortunately, just 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how old my daughter is. That's really depressing. Yeah. Um, Christina's best friend, her BFF, Allison Emery, said she was super excited for the new phase in her life, like the next chapter. She was really excited to be going off to uni and whatever.
Damn.
Powell and Larson met the summer prior to the start of university and decided to become roomies, and they got along great, so that was all cool. Oh, sorry. Pardon me. My cider. So Sonia's mother was very happy that she had a roommate there, but we also know that she was a little trepidatious. She was not thrilled exactly that they would be staying off campus, the girls.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, this was as all the dorms were full, so they didn't really have a choice if they wanted to go.
Huh.
Yeah. So already her mom's like feeling a little cautionary, I guess. And speaking of keeping in mind the theme of the Scream movies, the mother of Sonia Larson added, "We had no way of reaching her. The phone hadn't been installed yet. She hadn't called us, and finally the Powells, who lived closer, went over there. They had been radio silent since moving in a few days prior, so they didn't even have a phone."
Damn. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You should have gone to a payphone and called your mother.
I know. But this is like that. Okay, because in the first part, I remember I was like, wait, did we already talk about this? But no, I think it's like they're like, go check on the neighbors. And you're like, no, the
Yeah.
police. That's their job.
Yeah, that's what they get paid to do. Don't star yourself for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but basically they're like, yeah. Yeah, the one family can't get a hold of their daughter, so they're like, the Powell family, they live closer, so they physically go over there because they can't get a hold of the girls. So the Powells banged on their daughter's door. They had no answer. Um, a maintenance wow, let's try that again. A maintenance worker is called to help, and Betty Kernet, the apartment manager, is also present. She insisted they get a police officer on site, and then they get the door open. She was standing beside the worker as he broke down the door, and the officer was behind her.
I'd be like, you go first, officer. Fuck's sakes.
Right, but this, they're doing a little better than in the is it Ruthie May? I just re-listened to an episode. Sinisterhood covered the one that inspired like the Candyman story or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's horrible, cheap, rundown apartments where they could get through the bathroom windows, and the Ruthie
Yeah.
May lady like called, and the police came, and she didn't answer the door, and so then they just left. Like, at least these
Yeah.
guys are breaking down the door or whatever. But so, quote, when he went in, I followed him in the apartment and I saw the young lady on the bed. You could see she was in a bad position, and I just turned around and walked out, Kernet said. My maintenance man, unfortunately, ran down the stairs screaming, "Oh my God," and came out and threw up. And the sad, sad part about it is that we had the parents behind us on the stairs. So,
Oh.
at least they didn't go in first, but that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Then backup was called. The girls were discovered, like obviously their bodies. Christina Powell was found on the first floor. Her mouth was duct taped and her hands had been bound. And this was evident from when they found her, from like the residue, but they like it had always been removed from them. Got rid
Oh,
of it. Yeah.
trying to get
Like
rid of fingerprints or something then?
Oh yeah, he completely knows that he has to try to get rid of evidence. Probably because his dad's a cop, right? Although you might not
Oh,
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah. I forgot he was an abuser. But yeah, he's an abusive cop. That's what his dad was.
And
Beat him when he
then,
was 1 because he didn't crawl right. Yeah.
yeah, didn't he shoot his dad? Like, shoot and kill his dad, right?
Oh, he did shoot his dad. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like that, but he did. And although I did say it was because some altercation because his dad said roll the windows up on your car, when I
Yeah.
was editing, I remembered that I had also read that it like his dad was abusive. We knew that, and like he obviously had a temper too. So I think it had escalated beyond that, where maybe his dad said something to that effect of put the car windows up, but then his dad came out of the house carrying a gun and brandishing it at him, and so like
Oh, okay.
apparently, yeah, it kind of escalated, and maybe it was obviously just the last straw for Danny at that point. Like,
Yeah.
ugh. But either way, yeah, his dad lost an eye and an ear, and he did survive though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Um, it's all pretty crazy. So, yeah, they found the girls, and Christina Powell was found with evidence that she had been sexually assaulted and probably before and after death. So it just
Ew.
was really, really bad. She'd been stabbed repeatedly, further desecrated and mutilated. And much like Ed Gein, who I didn't want to cover, he cut off her nipples. Because,
Ugh.
great. Why shouldn't they all get inspiration from each other?
Right.
And just when you try to avoid, there's so many movies based on Ed Gein too. When you look up horror movie crimes, he comes up so much, and I was like, no, I don't want to do him. You know,
Yeah. I wouldn't either.
it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like it's just so many, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so poor Sonia, found on the waterbed upstairs, had been also brutally murdered, stabbed in the arms and torso. Her body was laying on the bed. So also kind of posed. Her feet were on the floor, and her head was back with her hair fanned out around her face. Wayland Clifton, chief of police of the Gainesville Police Department, said his greatest fear going home that night was that there were more murders to come.
Jeez.
Yeah, we could probably guess that he was right on that one.
Yeah.
And this next one would somehow manage to hit even closer to home for the department. This was Krista Hoyt, who had become hoping to become a police officer herself, from what I read. She had been working part-time at the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. When she didn't show up for her, I tried to write shift, but it came out sift, which they didn't correct because is also a word, I guess. She didn't show up for her shift. Anyway, sorry, this is really sad. They dispatched Gail Barber and another officer to the scene, and Barber actually recognized her immediately. She recognized Krista Hoyt's body.
Damn.
Her body had been badly cut up, nipples removed again, and her head had also been removed and placed on the bookshelf across from her body.
Ugh. Gross. What the heck?
So gross. And also the part that really made me think that, honestly, that we had covered it before. Because I was like, that sounds so... I guess you don't forget a detail like that sometimes. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he puts her head so that she's like watching herself. I don't know.
Weird.
And it's just really sad because the officer there knew her and said, I did not want to see that young lady that meant so much to me. I did not want that to be what I carried in my mind of her for the rest of my life. That's what Barbara said.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah, she personally knew her, and then she found her all chopped up. And that was because they, I think, as I mentioned, they were, or maybe it comes up here a little later with the details, like, because they knew she was, yeah, she didn't show up for her shift. Yes, that part. Because so they knew she was like, they're like, that's not right. That's unusual.
Yeah.
So the one article had more details that said Rowling broke into the apartment of Krista Hoyt. They called her an 18-year-old chemistry honors student. So I guess she was studying chemistry also, I believe, at Santa Fe College, prying open a sliding glass door with a screwdriver. Finding she was not home, he waited in the living room for her to return. I don't know how they know
Ugh.
that. I know, so gross. At
Yeah.
11 a.m., Hoyt entered the apartment and was surprised by Rowling, who placed her in a chokehold. After she had been subdued, he used duct tape. I'm so sorry, I can't talk. After she had been subdued, he used duct tape to gag her mouth and bind her wrists together behind her back and led her into the bedroom, where he cut the clothes from her body and raped her.
Jeez.
It's so bad. I'm sorry. As in the Powell murder, he forced her to lie face down onto the bed and stabbed her in the back, rupturing her aorta. He then flipped her body over and sliced her abdomen open from her pubic bone to her breastbone. Just a lot. I'm sorry. It had details that I just was like, how do they even know? He must have told them, and then from the body, I guess. Oh, and this was crazy. After arriving back at his campsite, Rowling could not find his wallet. Thinking he may have lost it at the murder scene, he returned there, at which time he decapitated Hoyt, posed her body in a sitting position at the edge of her bed, and placed her head on a shelf facing the corpse. He later claimed his intent was to add to the shock of whoever discovered her.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross. All because he had to go back for his wallet.
Yeah. It's like,
Jeez.
how does your mind work?
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm here. Let me just, like...
Right?
Ugh.
Like those killers that you're like, oh, and then they like killed a bunch of people and then like had a snack. And you're like, they what? Like, that's insane.
Right? Yeah, it's like they hung out in the victim's house for the next 12 hours and messed up their Netflix algorithm and made a sandwich. What?
No, give me the like, I don't know. I think I heard about on a petty crime show, like Live, Laugh, Larceny or something like that, where it's like, well, they broke into my house and then they were stoned and they just like cleaned the place up. You're like, yes, please. Let's do that. That I'm okay with. No. My dog would be barking at you though.
Yeah.
But then he'd be begging for part of that sandwich. Yeah. Okay, so this, was pretty rough on everybody involved. Krista's parents were devastated and basically just mostly her father begging to know if her death had been quick. They really focused on hoping it had been somewhat painless and over quickly.
You probably don't want to know.
I know. That's all I could hope for too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She was very young also. She was 19.
Jeez.
And then news of the murders, of course, start to spread. Scared. People are getting all terrified, ratcheted up. The University of Florida was also very big, as I learned. It's the fourth largest public university campus in the U.S. So,
wow.
I know, that seems huge, and Gainesville is the most populous city in north central Florida. So there was a lot of students that were getting really scared every day. The very next morning, August 28th, 2 more victims were found dead. Tracy Pauls and Manuel Manny Taboda.
The next morning? Like they were killed the same night, or that's just when they found their bodies?
I think they were killed the following night from the others. If I
Oh, okay.
were to go back and see if we had an actual date for the one before, but it's in very quick succession, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have the exact date for the previous murder, but it was, yeah, I just put August. So yeah, I guess this is like the next day. These are Tracy and Manny were close friends since high school, had moved in together recently, and Manny had hopes of being an architect and Tracy wanted to be a lawyer. So they're just starting school. And the 23-year-olds were living together in an apartment with, again, I don't want to scare everybody, but another sliding glass door.
Yeah.
I know you extra secure yours.
I
want to secure mine now.
I don't have a sliding glass door at all, but
Oh,
like,
you just had the extra security stick on one of your front doors or something, right?
I have one for the front door and one for the back. But
there's ones you can get right for sliding glass doors, which we'll get into a little bit.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Right. Our sliding glass door, our patio door leads out onto our back porch, which is fenced in. So it's hard to get into unless you're going to climb our fence from in like the park.
Yeah.
Don't try it. But like also the thing keeps, I don't know. It's like a slide, whatever. Just a little latch that opens and shuts the lock. So also that's been breaking, and then like you can easily lock yourself out back there even without locking it. Yeah.
Jeez. That sucks.
I know. We end up not using it in the winter because it gets like too much to like try and let the dog out. And then there's snow and it's freezing cold. And anyway, it gets fucking cold here. Yes, we're in Canada.
Yeah.
Coldest part of Canada, god damn it. Anyway, I'm fine. It was really cold today. I was like, no, the winter is coming.
Yeah, I refuse to get out and wear my winter jacket yet, so I froze to death this morning on my way to work.
Do you mean your plaid winter jacket, or like is that kind of your fall
those ones are messed up. So those are I had to get rid of. Yeah, both of them are gone, sadly.
There was a girl at work that I was wearing one as the weather got colder, and it was this plaid pattern. I was like, that reminds me of Kelsey's one that I haven't seen in ages, because we used to just like see each other more when we worked together, like physically.
Yeah, I loved those ones. They were like perfect for
it was like fleecy, right?
Yeah, sort of. They were just poofy enough and warm enough that I could wear them most of the time, unless it was like, I don't know, colder than like -10.
Yeah, but they're still cute, exactly, which is difficult to always come by, because usually when you get something that's super warm, it's not as fashionable necessarily.
Yeah, sadly they're both wrecked and long gone.
Damn, that makes me really sad. Yeah.
Right? I think they were each $20, so it was like the best $20 I ever spent on either of those.
It's so funny. Like, I got a jacket or two I got to replace. Like, I had a nice, I thought it was leather, but it starts pulling away, then you know it's pleather.
Yeah.
You're like, damn it.
Yeah, mine's doing that now again. I was like, I just bought this last year from Goodwill. It's like it looked perfectly brand new, and now it's messing up on the one sleeve. I'm like, damn it. It's gotta buy like a real leather jacket. Last me 100 years.
Same. Yeah. Oh, here's the sound effect that I was going to use on our last recording.
What is this, Dateline? What's happening?
It's called horror jump scare sound effect.
Horror jump scare? Okay.
I was trying to find something to put before our scary stories for the bonus episode. So poor Tracy and Manny were living together in the apartment with the sliding glass door, which Danny Rawling used to break in with the same tools that he'd used before. And
Damn.
yeah, Manny had reportedly been surprised to sleep in bed, but still kind of fought the attacker off as best as he could. So, quote, hearing the commotion, Pauls went down to the hall to Tabota's bedroom and saw Rowling. She attempted to barricade herself in her bedroom, but Rowling broke through the door. Rowling taped her mouth and wrists, cut off her clothing, and raped her before turning her over and stabbing her 3 times in the back. Rowling posed
Damn.
Paul's body, but left Tabota's in the same position in which he had died. It's rough, and yeah, he just seems more focused on posing those girls, and
Yeah.
but it seemed like he had been a little rushed with this one. He did take the time, to pose her a little bit and try to clean up her body with some soap, which was found on her lower body along with tape residue on her hands, which he took the tape with him again. And now everyone's terrified, especially in this area where all the murders had occurred within a 2-mile radius, so really small.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
There's one picture. Oh, I remember in one article there was a picture of students. It said students pleading to have classes canceled, and eventually they were canceled for a week after apparent pressure from students.
Huh.
Yeah, things were high alert, and people took to walking in groups, carrying baseball bats, and triple locking their doors, and students sleeping in shifts.
God damn. Yeah, I probably would have been adding hammering nails into a wooden baseball bat and been like, okay.
Meet Lucille, yeah.
Yeah, this is my new best friend. It's a bat filled with nails.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great. It's nice. They're the community banded together, which is nice to feel like your community has your back, but also just so scary.
Yeah.
And by the end of that August, almost 700 students had left the school or the campus and never came back to the area.
Wow, 700.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
They're like, fuck this.
I mean, I would be.
Yeah. Especially then, it's and now we have, there's every school, you're almost expected to be scared in America. Sorry, America, but you have so many school shootings. It's you have to have people come to school with like clear backpacks now. But like this
I'm
was
honestly
unheard of.
surprised that they don't just move everything online. Like it'd be crazy.
It just, yeah, it does make you sad for that stuff.
Yeah.
I dealt with the clear bag situation when I was like, I haven't been to a concert here in a while, but what, now I can't go in with my tiny little purse? I told you about that when we went to see Metallica. And like you can't even bring in a purse. My little black purse that I was using that was like the size of a loose leaf piece of paper, you know? Like they're like,
Damn.
no, you can fucking toss it or you can leave. And we were like, we're already all the way down here, and our car was parked at the Kingsway Mall, which is a walk from the concert, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we had ended up, my friend Anita lived down near there, quite close to where we used to live, which was close to this concert venue. And I was like, "Can I drop off my purse with you?" And if she hadn't have done that, we would never have been able to see that concert. Oh, I'm like, this is crazy. This
Damn.
is what happens. I know. I'm like, did I miss something before? Like now it's like airports after 9/11, getting into a concert here. Like, I didn't remember
Huh.
it being like that the last Metallica concert we went to.
Yeah, that's something they should be like supplying when you buy the tickets. Then
Yeah, everyone else acted like, "What, you didn't know?" I was like, "No, dude.
wow.
Been here in a while." Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize we lived in Compton. Oh no. That's where they are in that Them show I was talking about. Except Compton's like
Huh.
super white at the time because it's the 50s.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Many students left. The police were following all the leads that they had, which were probably not that many, unfortunately. But the day of the murder of Krista Hoyt, there had been a robbery at a bank about a half a mile from her house. So that was kind of in the same vicinity. And at the time, a bank teller managed to put a red dye bag inside the bank bag. It's hard to say. Dye pack.
Oh.
Yeah. Like very, like, it's gonna explode all over you.
Yeah. Nice.
And then later that day, an officer followed a guy in a hoodie, a dude in a hoodie, into the woods.
Into the woods.
It's so weird. But because, I don't know, he has suspicions or whatever. And then he finds later the stash where there's the red dye pack, a screwdriver, and a tape player, and also some money covered in red dye. So they're like, oh, yeah, this is the guy that held up the bank too. But I guess they didn't get him, I don't believe, at that time. Also, they found a gun, which didn't really fit with the MO of the murders, so they didn't really
Yeah.
equate it with the crime at all. Which,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the murder and rapes doesn't make me normally think of a bank robber.
No, exactly. So although I'm kind of foreshadowing, like, they obviously didn't connect it. Like, and I don't really blame them. Yeah. Which means they also wouldn't listen to what was on the tape until months later. So just put a pin in
Really? Ugh.
Yeah.
Yep. Listen to the tape. It's evidence.
Yeah.
It's at least evidence in the bank robbery. What the hell?
I mean, you would think it would appear as though, like, okay, like a blank CD looks like a blank CD. Wouldn't a tape that you've recorded over look like a recorded tape, I guess? I don't know. That's before my time.
Yeah, I don't really know much about cassettes or anything, but
I made you a mixtape.
It's evidence. You should have at least listened to it in regards to your bank robbery case.
I feel like unless it said like Aerosmith greatest hits, like, yeah, it's not just a random thing the dude was listening to, but you never know. So at around this time, they also did arrest a man in conjunction with the case whose name was Ed Humphrey and was a college student. They had found some sort of connection, like some partial like DNA match at the scene, is my understanding.
Okay.
But this is early 90s, so the DNA, and I think they're going kind of like blood types and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to be fair. They had like some suspicions of Ed, who had some things under his belt. He had just been recently in trouble for assaulting his own grandmother, which gives some Ed Kemper vibes. Like,
yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, and they were like, he's carrying knives a lot, and then apparently he's off his medication. And so he looked good for it. And I'll put some pictures of him on our social media and on the drive for you if you want to use them on the website, because although it shouldn't really matter, he did look a little scary. He had some facial scars on his face from like a car crash. So like,
oh, okay.
Bad guys always have scars.
Yeah.
You know?
Any movie ever has told me anything. It's that every bad guy is Russian, British, or and has facial scars.
German. They're
Yeah.
big for they liked getting the battle scars. They thought it was like a badge of honor almost back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But like, yeah, yeah, I know to like, make him look a little bit scary. um, so he looked like a good culprit. People had heard him over saying some troubling things, like he liked to hurt people.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was evicted from one of the apartments the students were killed in as well, although there were a few of those apartments. So after the
Okay.
assault, the police held him on suspicion, so he's in custody now. Yeah, so it was maybe a partial match of some of the DNA, but ultimately he was cleared DNA wise, and they were kind of at a loss because there was a lot of cleaning products used to try and erase the, semen and whatnot at the crime scene. But there was trace amounts left behind, basically.
Okay. And it's the
Um,
90s.
right. Yes, I have a quote to kind of explain because I didn't really get it. But it said there was one major problem for investigators. Even though DNA testing technology was still in its infancy, investigators were able to determine the suspect's blood type through semen left behind at all 3 crime scenes. They found that the suspect had type B blood, but Humphrey's blood was type A. So,
Okay.
I guess they can match blood types now from DNA evidence, but they don't have the exact
Yeah.
DNA capability that we do now.
Like the full sequencing that they can do and be like, this is your
Right.
second cousin. Like,
No, yeah, I was watching it wasn't a Forensic Files, but it was a Crime Beat. It's like a Canadian Forensic Files. And they were like, most people have 2 looking genome things, but this one was distinctly 3, which is like a 1 and he's like, it was questionable in my mind. You're like, okay, I believe you.
yeah,
You know what you're
right?
talking about.
You're a scientist.
Yeah. So this suspect they had, Ed Humphreys, his blood type did not match based on the semen. So though he was given some time for his assault to his grandmother, which wasn't great, but
Yeah.
he turned his life around. Honestly, this guy went back to school. He graduated with honors and got a Bachelor of Science degree in business administration.
Damn. Well, he probably went back on his medication, went to therapy.
Yeah. This is an ad for what you can do with
Yeah.
medication. Better help.
Yeah, it's like an episode of Scared Straight. It's like Scared almost got charged with murder.
Ooh, I haven't watched a lot of those. Some of those places were problematic.
I shouldn't have enjoyed grown adults who have done like crazy crimes. I shouldn't have enjoyed them yelling at really annoying bratty teenagers as much as I did, but man, and this person's like, yeah, I shoplift, I'm cool, all my 16-year-old friends think I'm the best, woo, everybody's afraid of me at school, and then they go to the prison and it looks like they shit themselves because this person's screaming in their face, and you're just like, yes, this is the best.
I think they did condition us to that in like the 90s and
Yeah.
stuff, and as long as it doesn't get to like the level of those, I forget what they like actually call them now with the term, but places where they sent like Paris Hilton and people where they did like scream at them every morning and then like also treat
like
them
the
in other
boarding
horrible
schools.
ways.
Yeah,
It's not like Scared Stiff, but it's something like that. It's like scare the shit out of them until they behave, to whatever end, and you're like, oh great, that's what places should be like.
I just thought it was hilarious because they always did little updates. It would follow like a group of them of like 5 of them, and then it would do little updates at the end. And I don't know, it worked a lot of the time because it'd be like, yeah, this is where you're gonna be living. This is where you shit in front of 4 other people all day long. Like,
No, I
like,
believe
yeah.
it. I think in the way that like a lot of misguided kids like maybe can find some structure from the military or whatever. I feel like they could yeah, it probably gave
Yeah.
some of them some structure.
But it's like, yeah, that's your life. You think you're so cool. This is where you're gonna end up. You better get used to it. Like, yeah.
Oh, but also this was the age of like, and I just heard an ad for her the other day, like Judge frickin' Judy, and I thought she's still around.
God
I
damn.
thought you're from like Jerry Springer time. Like what?
Yeah.
Didn't you die?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
I used to love watching Judge Judy.
Oh, she's got some sass. But that was like an
Yeah.
era, right? She was very much like the
Oh,
mom
yeah.
from Malcolm in the Middle. I feel like they had her play a similar character. Anyway, I'm getting off rant here. I
Oh,
digress.
hi, buddy. Gordo has entered chat. Hi, buddy.
Oh, he wants to get in on it.
You just
Okay, so away from the scared straight people,
Hey.
they are looking for a match to this partial DNA that they have, which I kind of understand now. Basically, maybe all they can really tell from it is blood type or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely some similarities are matching up between the Shreveport triple murder case because of the similarity in the way the victims had been sort of sexually posed in some of their cases, and the way that cleanup was attempted also after the sexual assault parts. Yeah. Investigator Don Maines was heading up the force following the possible connection between the murders in Shreveport and in Gainesville, Florida. He had been up to so he's from Florida. He'd been up to Louisiana to get a bigger picture, and they're all kind of working more together now, which is good. So the Shreveport police had the blood type of the killer in the Grissom case, and they were able to determine that it was the same blood type as in the Gainesville murders, which is like, if you could fight back against your attacker, like that case I was listening to last night, a lady got killed in Banff, Alberta, and she fucking stabbed him or whatever, fought back so hard that his blood was all over the place, and that's how they got him.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they matched. Yeah.
Fuck
They were
them
like,
up.
Fuck yeah, girl. The last thing you did was help catch your own killer.
Yeah, you scrape their face to everything, because I mean, if they haul
whatever you can do.
a suspect into questioning, it'd be like, how'd your face get all scratched up, or your arms?
Right.
And it's like, yeah.
Most people's faces don't get scratched up every day.
Yeah.
Even with a murder cat. No.
Right?
Although I constantly have claw bruises on like my thighs sometimes from the stupid dog.
Yeah.
Ma'am, are you okay? Yes, my dog's just very boisterous and doesn't let me clip his claws.
Yeah.
Okay, so same blood type in both of these cases in Louisiana and Florida, which is positive. Then at around this time, they get a great tip from a tipster lady who lived near Danny. At one point, was his neighbor, and her name was Cindy J. Oh, I wrote it out, but I at first I almost didn't because it's hard to pronounce. Looking Jurachic, maybe. But she called the Crime Stoppers, and she had known Danny, and her husband had him over several times, and also had to ask him to leave before due to these off-putting remarks that he had made. But not until she'd heard about the streak of murders did it actually convince her to call. This was in November of 1990, and they had lived in Louisiana near Danny, so yeah, before he moved to Florida, I guess. And she said, he always told us, one day I'm going to leave this town and I'm going to go where the girls are beautiful and I can just lay in the sun and watch beautiful women all day. which, whatever. Okay. But also
Great
she said,
aspirations in life, I guess.
I'm gonna go sit on a beach and look at some butts.
Yeah, like okay.
He'd come over every night for a while, and then one night Stephen came in and he goes, and he's got to go. Jay said, whatever her name is. Dobbin told her that Rowling had told him he had a problem. I said, what kind of problem? And Stephen said he likes to stick knives into people. And so that's what her husband was saying that he said. Yeah.
Gross.
It would not let me rest, she said. One day I picked up the phone, I called Crime Stoppers, and I said, I think there's one guy y'all need to investigate, Danny Rowling. So the heat is on Danny at the same time the Shreveport police checked on DNA of former prisoners in the area. Again, I tried to understand how all this like detective work came together and whatnot, but like, yeah, it all seemed to come together near the same time, which was kind of cool. In January of 1991, they got a match. It was Danny's DNA at the triple murder of the Grisham family.
That's good.
So the connections to all these cases were adding up with the similarities, the cleaning, which at the Grisham murders involved vinegar and later involved like cleaning products, and the tape removal and the posing of the body. The whole MO was very similar. Then they were able to search Danny's things upon these, theories, and they find audio tapes that are like diaries of the crimes.
Ugh. Gross.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, these tapes that they should have listened to, of course.
Yeah.
Right. The police that were investigating the bank robbery near Krista Hoyt's house finally listened to the tape they had in custody they'd found in the woods with the money. It was a deranged man talking about killing and calling himself Danny Rowling.
They should have listened to it. Like, who dropped the ball on that?
I know. Honestly, I wonder if... yeah, it's crazy. In one of the songs, it said, the man sings, Mystery Rider, what's your name? You're a killer, a drifter, gone insane.
I can rhyme words.
It was so good at it, yeah.
Yeah.
Hewitt said the man also talked to his family about life and how he felt he went down the, quote, wrong road. Smith said Rowling also talked about the best way to kill a deer. So this is all in the tapes, I guess.
Wow.
Then at one point, the man on the tape says his name, Danny Harold Rowling. That was exciting, Hewitt said. It didn't matter what the lyrics were or what he was saying at that point.
Yeah.
You think? And then they said, if we had played the tape before, we would have had this guy 3 months ago, Maine said. But for some reason, somehow that tape escaped us, and I'll freely admit it.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh. That's terrible. It won't unfreeze for me at all. It's like Kelsey's a statue.
Yeah, that's what mine was doing earlier. You didn't move for like almost 10 minutes. I was like, this is weird.
It's so weird. It's okay. It's like when I'm watching the AI guy's D&D sessions where he just has like painted Gordon Ramsay and then you hear him talking but he's not moving. Like a statue. Okay. Luckily for the police, Danny was already in Marion County Jail on a burglary charge.
Oh, good.
Right? For once, something went their way. And this was just 40 minutes south of Gainesville. He confessed to the murders when interrogated. Just like that. He was charged on 5 counts of murder. And also not sure if that was just in Florida or just what they could and thought they would get him on. But sometimes that's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they have to charge you, especially if they're doing like a group thing, like if they're not trying each case separately. If they have one
Yeah.
that they think they might lose on, it could bring like down the whole thing. So,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Sometimes they'll have like nary one body to go on, and so they have to do whatever they
Yeah.
can. Yeah. Yeah. Um okay. Oh right. So the one thing that he ever said about his motive, I guess specifically, was that he wanted to be a superstar like Ted Bundy. Yep.
Loser.
I know. Trial began almost 4 years after the first murders, and uh, strangely, before it even started, he unexpectedly pled guilty to all 5 charges at once.
Huh.
I know. I don't know how the lawyers felt about that. That doesn't sound expected.
Yeah. See, try to
um,
go like uh insanity plea or something.
yeah, it just sounds like they probably advise you to plead not guilty at least. But anyway. Um, better for us. So, State Attorney Rod Smith went straight to the penalty part of the proceedings, which I guess he was allowed to do,
Yeah.
because he pled guilty. Yeah.
You like, cool, let's fast track this.
Is that how this works? Yeah.
You suck, prison forever, hope you die. Goodbye.
Yeah. As they say on Small Town Murder, you, sir, may fuck off. This many years.
Gordo, you just headbutted me.
Aw, can't even see him. So during the trial, we're down to the trial. Court TV interviewed his mom, and his father could be heard shouting in the background of the interview, I guess. I don't know. So that was interesting. However, yeah, the trial was not long, and on April 20th, happy 420. No. Of 1994, he was sentenced to death. So woof. Yeah, 1994. That seems so crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we had any murders in Canada up till that day, but we probably had some in like the 70s, the 50s. Yeah, pretty late
Gordo.
sometimes.
Gordo, you can't scratch your face using a laptop. Buddy, you're gonna close the tab.
No!
Being so fussy. Stop.
He's what?
He's being so fussy.
Oh, good. I thought you said pussy. I was like, oh.
No.
Okay. So we just have the trial to get through and a little bit more legal stuff. He was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and paraphilia. I think paraphilia is getting excited by things that are not living. I could be wrong. I forget. I looked it up a while ago.
Yeah,
So
I know the word, but yeah, I can't remember.
yeah, it's something. While awaiting his execution, he confessed to the Shreveport murders. That would be of the Grissom family. Which,
Okay.
like, good. I don't know. He gave a written confession and apology to Reverend Mike Hudspeth and the police. Then something told me his last meal, which was lobster tail, butterfly shrimp and cocktail sauce, baked potatoes, strawberry cheesecake, and iced tea.
Boo.
Not bad.
Honestly, they should
Okay.
get fed dog food. Like, just, you suck.
Okay, but if someone took you on that YouTube and was like, what's your last meal? I mean, like, what are you going to say? Like, that's a tough choice, right?
Oh yeah, we as like normal, good, law-abiding citizens can fantasize about our own extravagant last meals, but the actual criminals should get fed dog food. been like, do you want pate or giblet? Like,
Oh no. Okay, well.
I don't want tax-paying money going to fucking lobster tails for
Oh.
this dude.
There's often times when I'm like arguing because the don't love capital punishment, especially how often, you know, we get it wrong when people are innocent and stuff. Just stuff like that. But this guy,
Yeah.
it's not a hard pill to swallow. So
No.
many people wanted to see him killed. In fact, when he was executed on October 25th, 2006, there were 47 witnesses, which was more than
Nice.
twice the seating capacity allowed there. Yeah.
Standing room only.
Yeah.
We got a mosh
Exactly.
pit. We got a beer garden.
And anyway, I don't want to get all like, but you know us, we're like, sometimes it's supposed to be where prison's supposed to be good, but other times, like, I don't know, could he have been saved? It's hard to say.
I don't think so after 5.
He had a tough go of it, I must say.
Yeah.
He had a real rough lot in
And
life.
we did discuss how he more than likely had brain damage from his father beating him as an infant.
I feel like, how could you not? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I hate to get too like, exultant, but like, yeah, he kind of just met his end. I don't know, gracefully. They had given him a guitar to play on death row because he had gotten into that when he was a kid. And then he ended up singing a sort of hymn-like song, they said, as he literally lay on his like deathbed. Yeah, it went on. It went on for like 5 verses, and when he was I don't know. Other things were like mean. They were like, it rambled on. I was like, well, did it? Was it terrible? Anyway. Obviously he couldn't play his guitar, so it was all a cappella. Of course it probably sounded weird. But he was just 52 years old actually when that happened, and yeah, then he was dead.
Damn.
Yeah, it doesn't often end that way. But didn't really end there for us. We just had a little bit more things that happened. Obviously there was the screenplay, which was by writer Kevin Williamson, that became eventually Scream. But the
it
whole
was a
community
play?
itself. A what?
It was a play before? I didn't know it was a play.
It ended up being a screenplay, I think I wrote. Yeah. So, yeah, probably not a stage play. Although, that would be fun.
I was gonna say, the amount of movies that they're taking from movie form to making them like musical plays. I'm like, are they doing that with Scream? But reverse.
Oh,
It was a
no.
musical play and now it's a movie franchise.
Don't repurpose it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, some of those are supposed to be good, but as the community just reeled with the loss and shock, the fallout was not over. The families missing loved ones, the students and teachers trying to get back to school, the whole grieving city, and at least 4 whole stigmatized properties, which was the apartments where the young lives had been taken. That's what they call it after when they're like a haunted house or like it's hard to sell. They call them a stigmatized property.
Well, yeah, it's one thing if like a one apartment in a building something happens in or whatever, but yeah, when you said like all the murders are within 2 miles of each other, like that's a neighborhood that's fucked.
Right.
Like,
It's obviously all close to campus, yeah.
yeah.
It was actually the Gatorwood apartments, the Campus Club apartments, the La Mancha apartments, and the only one that is still left standing, the Williamsburg Village apartments.
Jeez.
And I had this quote, Oh, actually, yeah. Okay, so this is I end up getting some from an actual a law firm site, and you'll see why they become involved.
A law
um,
firm.
they said, though the eventual capture of the perpetrator provided a measure of closure, the process of psychological recovery continued over the years. The murders triggered significant changes in how local law enforcement approached major crimes and supported victims and their families. Furthermore, it laid the groundwork for the university's response to campus emergencies. Other
That's
higher
good.
learning institutions adopted this framework as well. Yeah. Yeah, so there's going to be some action and some that might turn out some good. Like after the conviction, Krista Hoyt's parents took action against her former landlord, whose name happened to be Albert J. Hoover, which I just thought was funny.
Yeah.
No relation to the. Isn't there a Hoover president or something? Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know. And then, her parents, Anne Guerin and Ralph Hoyt, filed their suit in 2005, raising concerns over the residence's security or lack thereof that the girls were living in. The case just so happened to take place in the Alachua County Circuit Court. Sorry.
Oh no.
There's so many words, and I was wondering if I was saying Alachua right again, and I still don't know. Okay, but yes, they happen to be handled by one Jack Fine of the Fine, Farcash, and Parlapiano law firm. So that's, I guess, why they ended up writing such a lovely article. Because they got involved in the court case.
Yeah.
This suit alleged that the sliding glass door that Danny used to enter the home was insufficiently secured. The lock was deemed inadequate, and there was no security bar for backup. Criminal activity in the area, lack of security system, and copious trees, shrubbery, and other foliage that blocked a line of sight, covering the entire perimeter, also contributed to the lack of security, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And as Florida law mandates that landlords uphold security and safety of their premises, so this law allows for the recovery of damages caused due to negligence in meeting those standards. So, that's kind of where they got in on it. They're like, yeah, it's not secure.
Can see that, I guess.
It's, you want to hit out in some way to hope that you can do some good to help prevent something like this from happening again. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I also think, and they talk about this at work sometimes, because in retail you deal with so much theft and people stealing and then running out of the store with merchandise and stuff. And they always tell us if somebody's really motivated, there's no way you will actually stop them. You're going to stop the people that are going to get embarrassed or whatever. But if somebody's actually doing it and they're that desperate, you're never going to be able to deter those people. Right. And it's I kind of think the same way. No matter what safety things you try and do, some people just, it wouldn't be deterred.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's crazy, yeah, when you say it like that and you're like, wow, places that have to be worried about being hit up like a gas station or something just because we work at a place of business. It's like, okay, yeah. We are all just bank train robbers anymore, though.
Yeah.
Some people be crazy. So the attorney there from the law firm, Mr. Jack Fine, he also sued the manufacturer of the sliding doors, I believe was the company. And
damn.
Yeah, they like hit right out. And according to their website, ffplaw.com, despite an initial bankruptcy defense by the manufacturer, continued persistence and effort resulted in a separate recovery under a product liability theory. So they got some money somehow, I guess. um And you'd think that's where it ended, but it didn't, because he then helped out George and Ricky Pauls, who I believe are the parents of Tracy Pauls, which was one of the victims. And
Yeah.
they were told at first by a Miami law firm that they had no case whatsoever. So Jack Fine said, "Hold my fancy expensive beer," and was like, "Let's go." And they filed a lawsuit against Gatorwood Apartments on April 28th, 92, and it was a high crime area with large amount of burglaries and assaults, so they used that, I guess, to bolster the case. And because also surrounding the perimeter was a dilapidated fence and poor lighting, they argued that it was, inadequate.
Yeah.
And like Danny had been hiding in the woods. They were not wrong, really. Like,
Yeah.
just so scary. A settlement with that one was eventually reached, a confidential amount, although it was allegedly significant, and that's according to the law firm's website, so who knows. Then finally, Danny and his then fiance Sandra London were the final
Ugh.
fight for this law firm, because before he was put to death, obviously, he co-wrote a story about his life and crimes, trying to profit off them.
No,
So
not allowed.
no. This lawyer was like, "You are not allowed to do that," and it was so stupidly just titled "The Making of a Serial Killer: The Real Story of the Gainesville Murders."
Ugh.
Yeah. And I guess I don't know if it was just like briefly published before they stopped it, but it said it was published by Feral House and contained 50 hand-drawn pictures by Danny. Uh it was also somehow serialized in a 3-part series in the Globe magazine. But then
What
Jack
the
Fine
heck?
filed a countersuit along with the state attorney that involved a version of the Son of Sam law, which exists to prevent criminals from profiting off their crimes.
Yeah.
So, fuck yeah, they won, cut off production of the loosely based book, quote unquote. I hate to even call it that.
Yeah. It's
So that
weird.
put a kibosh on that, yeah, and that's kind of how they helped out. And nowadays, there's like wonderful memorials in honor of the fallen, in honor of Krista Hoyt at the Santa Fe College and the Tracy Pauls Fund, which benefits places like the American Cancer Society and educational institutes for the blind.
Educal?
But educal?
Edumacated? This is my
I'm
dad.
so educated. But
Get you an
yeah.
edumacation.
Get me an education so I know how to work these computers.
Computers.
Ah, so crazy.
Damn.
Maybe because I think I told it to record video, so maybe I overwhelmed it. But that's neither here nor there. It was just a crazy case. I don't know. We had so many problems we were
Probably.
trying to record last time that I was just shooting blind. No.
That might be why.
Maybe.
Probably.
My poor computer is like always like, I don't have enough space. And I'm like, shut the hell up. You've got plenty. All right.
Well, it was a wild case. I can't believe I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, me too, actually. Actually, having thought that maybe we covered it, especially. But it is crazy, the ones that get a lot of attention and others that like you just may have never heard of unless you start listening to podcasts. It's weird. It is. It's odd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Damn.
Especially they were all like white people, I think. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Oh my god. I was just probably saying that because we watched The Blackening again last night, as I was telling you earlier, and it's pretty funny. pick someone to die who is the blackest, and then watch how that plays out as they argue. It's great. Oh my god. Anyway, tell us which horror movies you guys loved this year, and what we should watch. Yeah. So that's our favorite. And then we'll catch you next week, I think, for our ghosts episode and our bonus episode. Yeah.
Yeah, spooky stories from both of those.
Yes. Yes, because we did read some spooky stories and had our guest some, which was really fun.
Played a couple games, couple rounds of.
Yeah. I don't know, some funny stories, I thought.
Yeah.
I love a good. Oh, am I laughing or am I scared? Both.
Right? You're like,
yeah. How do I feel?
yeah.
So thank you for your patience with this one, and then we're going to continue the spooky season into next week. And who the hell knows? Because in some places they read scary stories up until, or maybe not up until Christmas, but at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just keep the spooky train going, right? All right. Well, catch you next time.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Till then, keep it cryptic. Thank you for listening to Castles and Cryptids. We love all our listeners and appreciate every subscriber, every new review, every listen, rate, and download. Our music is by Kobe Off Air, and our cover art is by Antonio Garcia. We are also a proud member of Darkcast Network, where you can find the best and spookiest of all indie podcasts. Follow us on social media, where we are at Castles and Cryptids on mostly all of the things, now including TikTok. Check out our bonus content on Patreon. Cryptid clashes, video minisodes of your host making asses of themselves, Ask Me Anything, quizzes, other special episodes, and more. Starting at just $2 a month, you can get 1 to 2 extra episodes, depending on your level. We produce, edit, and research everything ourselves, and any support you can lend helps us to keep it cryptic. All right. I think that's everything. I don't know.
I got nothing. I'm not contributing anything. No. Sit here, drink some chai.
Ooh,
be nice
that's
and warm
fun.
and cozy. Yeah.
I had some chai this morning. Oh my gosh. Oh, right. Okay, yes. Let me get I can't even see our button for our music when I have the screen open.
Oh,
here it is.
oh yeah, we get to do that now.
We have an intro. I have to cough. All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna run pee, if that's okay.
Oh, okay.
I know I got a little bit left to go, so if you've had to pee too.
Yeah. Do you want to start a different one? Because this one's like completely frozen. I think you've only changed positions maybe twice in the last 15, almost 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I'll cut this one. We'll start another one in a sec.
Okay.
Okay. All right.